All right, so I am here with Setema Gali. Now, am I pronouncing your last name correct?
It's pronounced Gali.
Gali, okay, Gali. And I am really, really excited for this interview, this podcast. Setema is an author, a speaker, a mentor, was a Super Bowl champion with the New England Patriots. We're going to talk a little bit about that. President and founder of Man Wealth. And we're going to talk a little bit about his journey to get there as well as a father and a husband, which has been extremely accomplished in everything that he's done in his life. I'm excited for this interview. I know that he is an exceptional man. And in hearing him speak, you'll see the passion that comes out of his voice. And he's an example to me. So Setema, thank you for joining us. And let's just talk a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about your past, who you are, where you're from, and your upbringing.
Thank you so much. And first of all, it is a privilege and an honor and a blessing to be here. So I am so humbled and thankful, grateful to be here. So who is Setema? I married my best friend of 5 years, best friend and love of my life. We've been married now for almost 12 and a half years. We have 3 beautiful sons who I just love and adore. And I run Man Wealth. I'm the creator and founder of Man Wealth Immersion, a leader of a revolution we call the Prosperity Revolution, and also a program for women called Shield Maiden Live. We coach and speak with our organizations, executive coaching, training, leadership. But of all those things, right? I was in a band, like 7 years, a reggae band. I accompanied a gospel choir for about 5 years. So I love music and I love sharing my talents with that. And of everything that I've done in my life, right? Mortgages, real estate, football, Super Bowl, BYU. I would say the thing that I'm just most happy with as who I am as a father and as a husband. You know, there's a lot of men out there who they go crush business, they go conquer and create empires. And what comes at the cost of that is the family. And that's for me, I've been very clear, like, look, we are going to have an incredible financial empire and kingdom. We are going to make a difference in the world. And it will not come at the cost of my wife and my kids or my connection to my God and my health and fitness. Like, I just truly believe in living what I call a wealthy, prosperous life, which is not just one dimensional, but in every facet and arena of life. So that's Setema.
I appreciate you sharing that. Sounds like that balance is extremely important to you. Tell me a little bit about your journey to BYU and your athletic background and what really taught you or the lessons you learned from athletics, specifically football.
You got it. You know, I actually hated football. I got to tell you, I hated football. I wasn't very good. I 7th grade, I played tackle football. And I didn't want to go to, I prayed for thunder and lightning because I just knew we'd cancel practice. Part of that was I wasn't very good. I was out of shape. I didn't have the stamina that a lot of the guys had. And I was always at the end of the line and I puked the first day of practice. And I prayed like, God, don't let them put me in. They're like, so tell me you're in. And I was just like horrified. I was like, but I didn't want to quit. And I did have a dream to play college football at BYU. Like, that was a dream I had, but I didn't recognize and I didn't realize how hard it is. Like, it was, everyone has a dream. Like, I want to go be the CEO or the speaker or this author, this thing. And then you actually figure out what's required to do it. And boy, it was a rude awakening. So 7th and 8th grade, I was like, man, I just wasn't very good. But I didn't want to be the guy that quit. Freshman year, I grew a few inches and then I was more athletic, and it was my junior year or sophomore year. I'll never forget. This changed my life. Like, this altered the course of my life. And we're in the weight room, and I'm like 170 pounds. I'm tiny, 6'4". And our head coach walks in, and he says, you sophomores in here, you're going to be the leaders of next year. And I respected him so much. His name is Bryce Monson. Mm-hmm. And he said, some of you are going to be starters. And some of you won't. And that's up to you. And the price of success is always paid in advance. And are you going to do it? Like, he gave me this speech and I was like, that's me. So I was like, I'm not going to do basketball. I'm just going to lift. And I set a goal. And this is where I fell in love with the weight room. And I just figured I'm not the fastest. I'm not the strongest. but I can outwork everyone. And my sophomore year of high school, I did not miss maybe 4 days from October, end of the football season, till the next summer. I put on 35 pounds.
Oh, and that's not easy to do. Oh.
Yeah, and I was lifting I lifted 4 days a week. Had a good friend of mine. His name is Randall Murray. We lifted every day after school. And my parents were great. They didn't make me get a job. I just hit the weight room. And I put on weight. And I tell you what, when a man punishes his body inside of the weight room, on the field, on the ice, in the gym, the confidence only goes up. And my confidence was brimming, like it was overflowing. So I come into my junior year, 200 pounds, have a stellar junior year, and get offers from a couple colleges. And my senior year, right, Penn State comes out, Michigan State, Michigan, Florida State. Like we had like big names coming out. And this was back in the 90s. So it's like, I'm a mission guy. I'm going to take 2 years off. And it just wasn't as like common back then the way it is today. I got a scholarship to Brigham Young University. And one of the biggest things, it goes back to high school. I just knew, like, you can be faster than me. You can be stronger than me. But there's no way you're going to outwork me. I will outwork you. I can grind. You might have some 4 stars, 5 stars behind your name. But at the end of the day, it's who can grind on the field, every rep, every set, every touch. And that's what I did. And that's got me here today. I'm just like, look, I don't know how, but I know who, and I know why. And I'm going to outgrind you. And when you stop, I'm going to keep going. And when you try to get back up, I'm going to separate myself with so much distance. Football has been like the most incredible blessing that has taught me so much. I got to BYU. I was a starter my last 2 years. A lot of injuries, like 5 shoulder surgeries, concussions. But you've been there. Like, to play football, there is a beating that the body takes. And I would say that's one of the biggest lessons I could teach someone is, at the end of the day, people are very talented and very gifted. And there's no question, like, talent is, you got to have some talent to play the game. But if you're even if you have just a little talent, but you're willing to grind, you're willing to do what's required, you're willing to just, I will outwork you, and I will work until, like, I won't stop. That really takes someone a long ways in life.
Yeah. Well, and what you're saying rings so true to me, because I know some of the biggest lessons that you learn specifically from football and athletics is that it's what you put into it, and you can always control how hard you work. You may not be the most talented. I don't have the size that you do. What'd you say, 6'4"?
Yeah.
And but you can always control your effort and how much you're going to put into it every single day. And such a valuable lesson, because then you carry that on through so many other things in life, whether it's the workplace, whether it's your family, your relationships. How much you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. And I love that lesson that you shared. So you played football at BYU. We talked a little bit about how we played against each other, but you were all conference. And what position did you play?
Yeah, I was a defensive end. I was all conference. I was a captain. I was the poster boy. Like my dreams really came true.
It's awesome.
Like,
was that under Lavelle?
Yeah, I finished up with Lavelle Edwards in 2000. In fact, the current head coach at BYU right now, Coach Kalani Sitake, he was an offensive captain. One of my close brothers, great friend of mine. Just an incredible human being. And so we finished up with Lavelle. 2000 was that last season of ours. We were seniors, and a rough season, but we finished it with the win at Utah. So that one capped the season. I
remember that very clearly. And then talk about, so you went and you played with the Patriots. What was that like?
Man, I'll tell you, the Patriots organization, they win, not an accident. Like, they are a winning culture. And it starts at the top with Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, that leadership. Like, there is no substitute for leadership. There's a quote or a phrase, and I don't know who says this, but it says something to the effect of, an army of deer led by a lion will beat an army of lions led by a deer. Something like that, right?
Yeah.
And it's true, because the speed of any team is the speed of the leader. So, when I got to New England, my journey there was incredible. I had shoulder surgeries, and my agent, I had interviewed 4 agents, and the last one walked in. And within 60 seconds, I knew, I'm hiring this guy. His name was Steve Dubin. So Don Yee, Steve Dubin, Tom Brady's agent.
Okay.
Same age as Tom Brady, like just incredible people. And yeah, he got me some workouts and I worked out, and the 49ers wanted to sign me and the Patriots wanted to sign me. And I wanted to go to the 49ers. It's like Steve Young, Joe Montana, the West Coast. Like, what's the 49ers?
Absolutely.
And something inside of my heart was like, no, you're supposed to go to New England. And I was like, oh man, like that voice inside it never leads me astray. It's always right. And when I don't listen, I lose. So I go to New England. I'm just homesick. I don't want to be there. I'm like, okay, I'm in the NFL. I got money coming to my account. Like, wow. And I'm like, I just want to go home. Like, I was homesick. It was hard. It was a job. It wasn't college. I'm there at 7 in the morning. Mm-hmm. I'm leaving at 5 in the afternoon. It's a full-time job. It's a grind. There's other dudes who are way fast and strong and athletic, and their bodies look like they're demigods chiseled out of marble. I'm like, wow. And we had guys like Ty Law and Lawyer Malloy and Willie McGinnis, obviously Brady and Teddy Bruschi, and just an incredible group of guys. But I'll tell you, when I got there, you want to talk about class organization. These guys welcomed me with open arms. They were great. There was no, other the funny things you hear about them doing to rookies. It was just, these guys were classy. They were giving out literature about how to take care of your wife. I wasn't married at the time. A lot of guys would have Bible study. So we had Bible study like 3 days a week. And a classy organization. And there's a reason why they win. It's the Patriot way. Right? You do your job. Bill Belichick must have said that only 1,000 times the first week. Right. Do your job. Do your job. There's just a way of being there. Now, I'll tell you what, I cherish those days in New England.
Yeah. Talk about some incredible memories. And you guys went all the way to win the Super Bowl, correct?
We did. We won that. That was the first Super Bowl that we won, the first of 3 and 4 years. And obviously they've got a couple more in the last, few years. And I just couldn't be more proud to be a Patriot and to know what that organization stands for and how they run their operations. It's an incredible organization.
Well, I don't think there's very many men out there in the world today that can say that they've had a Super Bowl ring. So that's pretty incredible that you were able to get to that level and achieve that amount of success. And like you said, be surrounded by such incredible leaders, such incredible men that were able to welcome you in and really to push you to a whole new level. So thank you for sharing that. All right, so you play with the Patriots. What next? What happens next in your life after you're done with football? Because I think that's really difficult for a lot of athletes when they get to that level and they put that much time, that much energy, that much effort into succeeding at something they get so the professional level at. What happens next in life after that?
I came home injured. They were like, hey, you can have surgery and keep playing. And I knew in my heart, I knew I was done. Like, I think everyone in life, they hit points in time where they just know it's time to move on. So I came home and pretty quickly all the money I had made was gone. Like, I was like, wow, it goes fast when you're kind of spending like you're making it. And for about a year, I was broke. I was down. I was depressed. I'm like, what do I do? This is all I've known since high school is football and school. And I went to school so I could play football. Some guys they play football so they can go to school. I'm like, I was all there for football. Obviously I got my degree, and it was all of 2003 where I just was like, this is not, no, there's no way that my best days are behind me. There's no way. I knew it. So in December of 2003, I kind of was dabbling in the mortgage and real estate industry. Mm-hmm. And January of 2004, I'll never forget, my car broke down and I was in the industry for probably 9 months. And I just set a goal. I was like, well, I'm going to do I knew how to succeed in football.
Right.
So if I take the same principles and mindset and tool sets that I did there and bring it here, I'm going to go crush it. So I set this big, hairy, audacious goal, right? This BHAG. I'm like, I'm going to go hit this thing. And of course, most of the office, they were all in their 40s. I was in my late 20s, and they're like, whatever, dude. Like, no, I'm going to make it. I'm going to be the top person in this office. Just watch me. My car broke down. I had to go buy a truck, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I bought this brand new, awesome. It was a Chevy Avalanche back in the day. I was like, dude, this truck is awesome. And the payment was huge. And it motivated me. And that year, I almost doubled the goal that I'd set, which was a multiple 6-figure, and it worked. And I never looked back. And so I'm in mortgages, I'm in real estate, and just crushing it. And by 2006, right, money's great, brand new home, brand new cars, but I was empty and unfulfilled. And
why is that? You know, you're making tons of money.
Yeah, it's a great question. Because that's not my calling in life. I remember I had this high-rise office, huge plasma screens on the walls for our screens, and driving these brand new exotic luxury cars. And I'm like, this is not what I'm supposed to do. And I knew it. And I remember writing in a journal. In fact, I'm going to pull the journal right here. Hold on, I'm going to grab this.
Do it.
This journal is from 2007, 2008, and it's thick. And I wrote in here, and I keep all my journals up here. I wrote in here, unleash human potential. I attended a seminar, an event, and back then it was like $500 for the day. I was like, dude, this is huge. Like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of money. And it is, and you know, it's obviously relative. And so the speaker said, what would you do if money was not an issue?
It's a good question.
And then I knew what I wanted to do. I get emotional just talking about it. I'm like, I want to be like a Tony Robbins, a Stephen Covey, a Zig Ziglar. I want to impact people. I want to reach and grab their heart and like, boom, like get it to beat again. And I want to unleash heat from the heavens to wake them up and to go be the greatest fathers and husbands and business owners. And that was in 2006. I'm in the middle of the mortgage and real estate boom. All my business is tied to mortgage and real estate. So I start to walk away. I go do my first speaking event. I like hold my own event. I started doing a lot of public speaking. And then in 2007, 2008, right, the mortgage economy and the real estate bubble it burns, it crashes. And with it, we lose everything. When I say lose everything, I mean, we're living in big homes, big cars. We got properties all over the country, and it just crumbles. And we were hemorrhaging from the inside out. Like I had to let people go. The teams couldn't do the payroll, couldn't do the office leases. It was, you want to talk about discouraging and depressing. And I remember sitting in my garage. I had a S65 AMG, just 200,000 on a car. I had my wife's Range Rover, brand new. And then I had this Escalade truck that all brand new cars, just the garage smelled like a car dealership. Uh-huh. And I remember sitting in there like contemplating, now having been able to realize this is how people feel when they contemplate suicide.
Whoa.
Like for a second, I was just like, I was so depressed. And the thought was there for probably 5 to 10 seconds. I'm like, I can't believe I'm here. And I was grateful though, because I was like, okay, now I know. Now I understand and have empathy for the people who they lose millions of dollars and they go take their lives. And I'm like, well, that's not what I'm doing. That's not who I am. I'm a champion. So we hit the bottom. We get kicked out. But the goal was always there. Like in my heart, it was like, I know I'm supposed to be speaking, training, coaching, leading, and not like kind of this warm, fuzzy life coach. I mean like results, right? Yeah. Bottom line, revenue, marriages, happiness, joy, like leadership, recruiting, like tangible results. And I go on this journey, and I have not looked back. And today, and that was 10 years ago when we lost everything. And today I'm doing it. Like I moved my family to Southern California 3 years ago. We live in a beautiful area here in Orange County, South Orange County. And I run events. Men pay big ticket to come to our events. Women pay big ticket to come to that's transformational immersion events. We have a large group conference style event coming up in April. And I get paid to speak. I get paid to travel to speak. And then I take my kids to school. I'm with them at night. And I'm living the life that I want to live. I'm not a Lambo guy. I don't need private jets and G4s. Maybe that time might come down there, but I just live from where I am with the vision of creating value for people. And I love it. Like life is so good, but look, we hit the bottom, and I cherish those days.
Yeah. And when you were speaking, I've been to Tony Robbins events. I went to that Unleash the Power Within right there in Los Angeles, and just an incredible speaker, full of energy. The room was just jamming and everybody was jumping and excited. But one of the things that stuck with me from his event is that he talks about the 6 core human needs. First, he talks about the 4 core human needs on the physical or in this life. But then he talks about 2 needs that are the spiritual needs. The higher calling is what he talks about. And the highest one is contribution. So he said, no matter how successful you get, no matter how significant you get, when you get to that level that you realize what brings ultimate happiness is contribution and helping another individual reach their goals and obtain what it is that they want, that's where true health or true happiness, true, long-term satisfaction in your life, that's what it comes from. And it sounds like that's what you had. Setema, I want to ask you, you were in this place that you said you hit rock bottom. How did you get out of it? What happened next? How'd you get there?
So we had like 4 years of plenty, like 4 years of abundance, 4 years of just, wow. Like, I was like, we've gotten here. Like, man, God's just going to use us to do so much good.
Yeah. And
then my wife looks at me. She's like, do you think we're going to go through some adversities to see? Like, I was like, don't say that. Yeah, we hit rock bottom, and then we had about 3.5, almost 4 years of like, I couldn't make any money. Like nothing I did, no amount of training, seminar, nothing was working. And I was recruited by an individual to go knock doors. He tried to recruit me for 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm in my mid-30s. I'm like, dude, I was a Super Bowl champ. I was a mortgage, real estate, multi-7-figure earner. Yeah, and I'm a public speaker. I'm not knocking doors for a living. No. By 2011, I had humble pie all up in my face, and nothing was working. And I felt like God, I think God knew. I think there's no question. I needed to go knock. And we get recruited. And in 2011, man, brother, I'm broke. I have zero. The account is negative. And I go knock. And my wife looks at me and she's like, go out there and kill it. And I'm like, well, I'm not coming back unless I do. And if I don't, like, I'm not coming home. So I leave to South Carolina and I go knock. And I learned this skill, how to knock on a door, how to master the sales process. I recruit. And for 3 summers of my life, some of the most sacred, special days, I go knock doors. And I go hustle. And I go grind. And I reinvent and re-engineer and rebuild and like rebaptize this fire and desire in my heart. 3 summers, Georgia, South Carolina the first summer, Texas the second summer.
Hot.
And Iowa the third summer, freezing in April and May. And it changed my world. Like it got me confidence back. And so whenever people are on the bottom and they want to try to hit a home run, I tell them, look, don't go hit a home run. Go grind again. Go become relevant. Go develop new skills. If you're not creating value in the marketplace, it's simply because either you don't want to or you lack the skills and the competency to do so. Knocking doors got me to get back to selling, recruiting. It filled my bank account. I had this confidence and certainty that even more than the real estate days, because I look back and I'm like, the real estate, it was a fluke. Anybody could have made money. We caught the wave at the right time and we rode that thing, and I was exposed. When the market and when the economy collapses, people will get exposed if they are not truly relevant, innovative, and committed. So after 3 summers of knocking doors, it was like September of 2013. I'm done with my 3rd summer, and by this time, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm in for another 2 years. We'll make a 5-year run. We'll go make all our money, and then we'll figure out. And again, I heard the voice. This voice I talk about in my book, Winning After the Game. The voice was like, you're done. And I was like, dude, whoa, hold on. Like, I'm making money. Life is good. The company loves me. I love the company. I got a team. It's predictable. It's sustainable. Like, this company is only going up. What? And I told my wife, I'm going to go be a coach and a speaker. Now, I tried to do this back in 2008 when we were broke. My wife literally drops to her knees. She starts sobbing. She's like, no, I don't want to be broke again. Don't do this, please. But I knew. I grabbed her by the hands. I'm like, I got this. I got this. And that conversation was 4 years ago. And since then, like, it has only gotten better and better. And the impact and the reach and the lives that we've been able to change and the team that I've been able to build. And, you ask, how did you get out? Like, I will say this to anyone who's listening. If you are on the bottom, like, don't stop believing. There's a picture of the man by the name of Jesus Christ behind me. And I'll just share one of my favorite stories. It's kind of where I was. there's a man by the name of, this is in the New Testament. If you don't believe that, the Christian scriptures, just stay open to the lesson as a parable. So now there's this father by the name of Jairus, and his daughter is like about to die. And he hears about this man by the name of Jesus. He's like, someone said that he could heal my daughter. So he goes to find Jesus. He touches Jesus and says, my daughter's about to die. Can you come help her? At the same time, the man from his village or whatever, they reach him and say, hey, your daughter's dead. She's done. And I can't imagine what the father, because I got kids myself. Mm-hmm. And Jesus looks at the man in this lesson, like I carried this lesson with me. He said, be not afraid, only believe. That scripture found in Mark chapter 5, I carried that thing with me. Like I'm not afraid. I'm going to believe. I'm just going to believe. And so believe. And then number 2, get committed and go create. Get committed and go create. And don't give up. Okay, if you're really committed, I'll tell everyone that you can create whatever you want to create. It's, life is incredible. And this phrase, I'll share this, that'll help with the context, is most people, they overestimate what they can do in a year, and then they underestimate what they can do in 10. So I'm 10 years. I'm 10 years here right now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. And in the scripture that you shared, what came to me is that you're able to let go of fear. If you're in a state of belief, in a state of faith, fear doesn't exist, and you just grind and you just go. The other thing that came to me as I was listening to you is just, I think back to when you were a sophomore learning how to play football, and you have a coach that comes and talks to you and says, if you work, if you give it everything you have, we're looking for some of these guys to be starters.
Yeah.
You took some of those lessons back from then and were able to apply those when you were at rock bottom, going out and knocking doors, starting at the bottom, and just with effort, grit, determination, able to rise up again and able to create wealth again. Other thing that I wanted to ask you, Setema, is you talk about this inner voice or this calling telling you that, hey, you're making money, you're doing great, but this isn't it. There's something better that's in you. How do people have the courage to follow that? And how first can they listen to that? Because that's pretty unique that I think some people don't understand. Talk a little bit about that, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah. Like, we all have it. Every human being has it. We all call it different things. I just use the word, the voice, to distinguish. So people are like, oh, that's not my voice. Mm-hmm. That is a enlightened or divine voice, the voice from within. And people have all kinds of names for it, but like, how can people, first of all, hear it? Like, you got to stop and listen. Uh-huh. And you have to be aware. Like, and I would bet my right arm, 100% of human beings, they have heard it or they have felt it. They just haven't recognized it. But it's like, often it's like a warning. Like sometimes we get these feelings like, dude, I probably shouldn't do this. Like, I don't feel good. Or it's like a thought, you should go do this.
Right.
And if you'll listen and then go, like, don't hesitate, don't postpone, like, go. What's going to happen is the voice will say, oh, Setema is actually listening. Great. We will tell him some more. And, nice. And it usually tells you things that you don't want to do. I didn't want to knock doors. And guess what it told me? You need to do this. I was like, there's got to be some hot stock. There's got to be some hot option that I can just get myself out of. There's got to be something. And the voice was like, no, go not. And every summer I'd come home, I'd be like, I'm done. And the voice was like, no, you got to go again. You got to go again. And then when I was like, sweet, I'm going for another 2 years, the voice was like, you're done. Yeah. And the voice has protected me and my family. It's guided me to make decisions. It's guided me to make leaps inside of business, right? When you go from one side in business to another to give up, it requires a huge leap of faith. And then the voice will tell you to do things. Even to move here into Southern California, like, I look out, if I walk maybe 5 minutes, I can see the ocean from here. Like, it's beautiful. It's just incredible views, blue skies. And I walked into this home and we had a budget. And this was at the top of the budget. And my wife's like, I'm like, this is the house. I know it. She's like, how do you know? I was like, I know. So trust me. And every move I've made, every time I listen, I succeed. So, how can one recognize it? There's feelings of like peace, but it's distinct. Like you'll know, because you're like, this is not me. You'll even question, is this me?
Yeah.
The moment you do that, I just listen to it, trust it.
Yeah.
And the more you listen and the more you do it, the more you receive. It's incredible how that works. Right? The more you do it, the more you get.
Yeah. So the secret, it sounds like, is when you have that voice, when you have that feeling, and you just described it so beautifully, it's to act, it's to go and not hesitate. And then that you get that support, that strength even stronger to help you lead your life. Okay, so you're making great money, you're knocking doors, the voice comes and it says, okay, it's time. It's time to really go after what you ultimately, it sounds like, is what you were destined and called to do, and that's to become a coach, a speaker, a mentor. Talk about Man Wealth and what it is that you created and how that's impacted your life and how it's impacted other people's lives.
Yeah. Well, Man Wealth came about because I actually started coaching women. I split with a business partner and he asked me as a gentleman's handshake, hey, can you just not coach men for a while? It's like, yeah, sure. Because I was kind of the head of that with him. And so I went and started coaching women. And it's called Shield Made and Live. And, they'd come to the beaches for 3.5, 4 days and just let everything out. And then their businesses would take off. Their marriages would rise. They would have so much power. And I always knew that I'd get to Man Wealth. So then once that agreement was over, we launched Man Wealth. And Man Wealth, the tagline is basically this: there's nothing that the world needs more than a wealthy man. Yeah. And when people hear that, they're kind of like, what? No, but I'm like, look, financial wealth is one part. But what would happen if a man was wealthy with his body and he just took care of it? You don't got to look like an Instagram bodybuilder. You just got to have your body be a temple, a weapon, a tool, a vehicle, a vessel that generates power. It's the frame that allows the brain to breathe and to see and to dream. Second thing is, what happens when a man is wealthy spiritually? With purpose, with meaning, his faith, if he believes in a God. So when a man, his body is wealthy, like he's healthy and fit, his spirituality is connected, it is in alignment. And then he's wealthy with his wife and his children, and he's wealthy in his business. There's nothing the world needs more than a man just like that, what we call a wealthy man. Because what would happen to civilizations? Like, why do we have so many problems today? Single parents, families are being attacked. There is a war being waged against the souls of men and women. How do we do that? Just break up a couple, just tear down a family, and you start to tear down a civilization, a community, and a state and a nation. So when we started Man Wealth, I always knew I'm not going to be the guy that's going to go preach money. There's plenty of money preachers out there. Like, I'm going to teach you how to make money. I was like, that's very important. It is. I would be the guy that would show men how to be what we call 5-star daddies, or one of the, a unicorn daddy. Like, what's a unicorn daddy? A daddy that doesn't even exist because we are so good. Like, we love our children. We don't yell at them. We talk with them. We treat them like adults. We empower them. We create them. A man who honors his goddess, who hugs his wife for 30 seconds every day, who whispers sweet nothings and all kinds of nothings into her ear, who takes her out on dates, who gives her space to go. My wife plays volleyball once a week and she works out with a boxing trainer. I give her space. I truly believe Man Wealth will become the premier, if not the most highly sought after program for men around the world to get their lives back, to get their marriages right, to get their body. And then with all of this power and alignment, what do? You point that where you want to go and you go create. Men will live their truest callings. Men will make more money. They'll be greater leaders. They'll actually be the most powerful leaders to impact their employees, and not by what the words that they say or the speakers that they hire. No, by who they are being as a demonstration of what's possible. And that's Man Wealth. And it's incredible. And I love what we do with Man Wealth. I love what we do with Shield Made Live, and I love what we do with the Revolution. And I'm living it. Like, look, if you're going to do this kind of work, you better live it at the core, because people will see right through you. They'll see it. They'll sniff it out.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like what you really describe is those core 4 principles. And what I like, I actually look at 5 to 6 core principles, but your spirituality, your relationships being so important with your wife, your children, friends, family, You talked about financial success, because it's hard to, and we know this sometimes as a father, you can be an incredible father, an incredible husband to your wife, but you want to be able to provide for your family as well, to feel successful, to feel like you're well-rounded in that area. You talk about your emotional intelligence. And then the biggest thing that I heard you talk about is your contribution, and really helping another. So just if you can you give me just a couple examples or people that you've worked with where you've seen how they changed their lives?
Yeah. We coached a man who came to our program, and he was kind of on the bottom of the cycle. So he had made lots of money before, cars, homes. And then he was coming into the program because he had forgotten who he was. He just forgot. And once you forget and you lose that thing, it's hard. Like it's almost like you got these blind spots and you don't even know it. And you can't see it. And you can't even see your way out. He's been with us he came in November. It's been 3 months. He's made more money in the last 3 months than in the last 2 years. And I mean, significant amount of money. He's more happy in his marriage. His wife's like, who are you?
Yeah.
What did Setema do to you? He dates his wife every week. He just launched another program that's almost a 6-figure monthly recurring income. They just had a baby. This man he's lost 30 pounds. And that's one example. Another example is this guy was on the verge of divorce. And, he was like, Setema, you saved me probably $5 million. I'm like, how so? He's like, and I already know the answer, but that's one. He's like, well, I'm worth this much. And if I get divorced, I got to give up half. And he goes, I was hating my wife for a while. And he goes, we are so happy. And I actually talked to his wife, because the wives they'll message me. They're like, hey, what's going on? Who is this man in my house who's bringing me flowers and being with my kids and being with us as a family? And, the money results are that's great. That's very, very important. And it's absolutely a metric we've got to measure. But what's hard to measure is when I get these messages from grown men who are in tears, who say, I cannot believe how amazing my life is right now. Yeah. And it's not easy. There's not some magic switch, but there is a magic we called immersion. And countless stories, even the women who've come in. We had a gal come in who was trying to get this company off the ground, and she is now the CEO of a $250 million company in making, and she's close. It's incredible. And these were people who came in there all over the place. So, it's definitely not, immersion is not for a beginner. It's for someone who has been there, done that, or who is there, and they want to go to another level. And there's countless stories of just marriages and physical goals and vision and peace and happiness. That's a big part of this. It's not about being frantic and grind and hustle I'm like, this is about living a life of happiness. Yeah. And the word you use, which is a big word in our world, is contribution. Instead of saying, how can I be more confident? I say, well, how can you be more generous? And how can you give back more? And those are just a few of the examples of people that we get a chance to watch them grow and succeed.
I love it. And talk about the amount of happiness and, joy that's come into your life when you get those messages, when you talk to people and you see their lives change as a result. So you are truly doing what you were called to do and what you're meant to do. And you truly are being an instrument in the divine and helping up-level other people's lives. And I love that. So I appreciate you sharing those stories and those examples. Setema, you talk about the 6 H's. What are the 6 H's? Just if you could give us an overview of that.
You got it. Simple. Number 1, it starts with being hungry. Okay. You better be hungry. I was hungry. Number 2, now that you got this thing that you want, that you're hungry for, you got to be humble. You've got to learn. You got to be teachable. So hungry, humble. Next one, these 2 is heart. You got to have heart. It's like sports. Put your heart in there. Yeah. If you're going to rebuild, you do have some heart. Just play like your heart is in 100% all in. The 4th H is hustle. This is dude, can you hustle? Can you grind? Can you effort? Can you just, you don't know how, but you go, it's like a basketball player. I'm going to get every loose ball. I'm going to be chippy. I'm going to hustle. I'm just going to do what I'll stay up all night. I will work all day. I will hustle. The next one is hours. Dude, can you put the hours in? People think I can do this. Like the internet makes it look like 3 easy clicks and you will be a millionaire in 10 days.
Yeah.
And it's all marketing, it's all clickbait. And I just said, look, the piper's got to get paid. And one of the ways you pay the piper is through hours. You got to put that time. And there's no, there's a lawyer here and very well-known attorney here in my neighborhood. And he says, in my early days, I worked like a dog, 70 to 80 hours a week for like 5 years. And he said, it's different now. I got to come home. And the other young guys are working like dogs, but he's like, I paid my price. So hours. And the last one is honor. Yeah. Like work with honor. This is how you make your money matters. And if you're doing it dishonorably or, dishonestly, doesn't work. So that's it. It's like the 6 H's changed my world. Be hungry, be humble, have heart, be a hustler, put the hours in, and do it with honor.
Yeah.
That's it. That changed my world. That's how I got out on the doors and dominated and crushed it.
I want to find out, because you are crushing it in all areas of life and you're doing exactly what it is that you want to do now. How do you balance your day? Because I know as a business owner, as a father, I want to keep a healthy body. How do you do it? How do you schedule your day? When you look at the start, like, how do I get everything accomplished that I need to get accomplished to keep balance?
It's a great question. We talk in depth about this inside of our live and immersion programs, and I'll give you just a good summary.
Okay.
Number one, you better have an outcome. I set up my life in 12-week seasons. So not like 12-year goals or 5-year goals. I'm like 12 weeks. It's predictable. It's right around the corner. It's close. Mm-hmm. And I set up my benchmarks at 4 weeks and 8 weeks. So I got things that I got to get to. So I know that I'm going to win. I then set up my weeks. Like we have these targets that we hit every week that move the business forward. And then I set up my day to win every day. And so this is what a day looks like. I know, like Covey says, begin with the end in mind. One of our principles is clarity is power. So I'm very clear about where I'm going, what I want, and why it matters. So a day would look like this. A normal day, which is like most of the days. I'm up about 4:15, 4:20.
Nice.
The headphones go in. Eyes, contacts, brushing teeth, putting my shake, getting ready, drinking my water, and I'm listening to a book. And the book I'm listening to right now is 0 to 1. I get to the gym. By the time I get to the gym, I've already sent probably like 4 or 5 messages to people just to touch them, to be, hey, I just wanted to say I love you. I'm thinking about you. Hope you have an amazing day. And just like these voice messages, through the text. I'm at the gym. So like I've already hit my study. I've touched relationships. I'm at the gym and I'm sweating. I get my workout in. When I get done, I'll usually post something on social media. I teach, I share what I've learned and the distinctions I got, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Come home, send some emails out, prepping for the day, make breakfast for my boys, take my boys to school, come back, a little more study, personal time, and then from 9 till about 5, I am working, grinding, calls, video calls, podcasts, video shoots, whatever we got to do. And then typically around 5 to 6, I'm done. And I'm going to go be present with my wife and kids. And I'm going to go coach basketball, go to coach football. We go to, on Mondays, it was like a 3:00 day. We had basketball practice at 3 and another one at 4 and then games on Wednesday. So I allot my time and I'm wise with my time. There's no time to screw around. There's no time to waste falling into the vortex of social media or into, these click, click, click. And all of a sudden you've lost an hour. You can't do that. And then taking my wife out once a week on a date. And then I'm like, the weekends are with my family. Now, if I'm going to work hard on the weekend, like in everyone's business, there's certain weeks where when my guys are in town, I'm off the grid. So I give a lot of time before the week, a lot of time after the week to decompress. And then you got to have your vacations. You got to take your weekly getaways or your quarterly getaways, those overnighters with your wife. And it's the life I want. And like you can't do it all, but you can certainly have it all. So this is like where you get your teams, your assistants, your system set up. And then you just got to let go and trust. And and the other thing is when you're with your kids, put your phone away, right? That's
Yeah.
I'm with my kids. My phone I do not need to be looking at my phone. we play, the hand slap game, paper, rock, scissors, Indiana Jones. Like, we're at Cheesecake last night, and we're just, people are walking. I'm this big human being. I'm playing with my kids. That's you get present, and so that's how I live. And then, Sunday, for me in my world, I unplug. Like, Sunday's a full day of church and family, and I feed these missionaries in our area every Sunday. We have people in our home every Sunday, and it's just a way to give back. So that's how I live my life, and it's incredible.
So you're an amazing high achiever with everything that you do. How do you, if you slip, maybe you're not as accomplished in one day, you slip back a little bit. How do you get back on track? And are you easy on yourself if you don't do everything just perfect?
Yeah, it's a great question. I make messes every day.
Yeah, every day. Perfect.
And so one of the things that we teach, and we help people really get this in our events and our coaching, is just don't have a thing about it. Most people, the reason they get off track is not because they get off track, because they beat themselves up. Mm-hmm. And they have this big story, and then they guilt themselves, and then they shame themselves, and then I'm not good enough. And pretty soon a whole week goes by, and it's kind of like the person who has a strict diet, and then they go out to eat, and they eat like an ice cream cone, and then they're like, oh, I messed up. Oh well, I might as well just eat the bag of Doritos, and I might as well just suck down that shake and eat all these carbs, and then pretty soon I'll start on Monday. No, that powerful people, they don't do that. What we do, if we get off the rail, we get right back on. There's no guilt. There's no shame. We just get back on without the stories and just keep going. Yeah.
So it's to forgive yourself really quick and just move on.
That's it. Yeah. Why would we ever focus on something that's not working? Because what we focus on is what expands. It's what we feel is what grows. So I just like, don't have a thing about it. That's one of the phrases. Like, I ain't got a thing about it. Let's go back to back on track, back to the grind. Let's go.
Okay, last question. Thank you, Setema, for all your time. Tell me what is most important to you and what brings you the most happiness in your life. And then the last, so go ahead and answer that question.
Yeah, man, that's easy. As soon as you say what's the most important, I see my wife and my sons.
How many kids do you have, Setema?
I have 3 boys.
I love it.
Yeah, 3 boys and my wife. That's the easy one. Like, they are the most important things. Now, they also know that when it's time to work's the most important. Yeah. When it's time to go to church is we really understand the priority of where we are in the day. And at 10 at night or 9 at night, what's the most important thing? The most like sleep. You got it. Like, we don't need to sleep while we're at school. We sleep at night. So those are the most important people in my life.
And then when you see other people that are struggling, what do you really see in the value that those other people can bring? What do you see that's inside of them?
If I see someone who's struggling and I'm looking for value, first of all, I see someone who they just can't see something. That's all. We often lose our way because we've lost our sight because of some belief or story that's starting to get in the way of that. And when I see someone who's down, I know you can choose your way out of this. It is your choice. You are not a victim. You are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. You simply need to choose and move. And I will hold space for people. When our programs, I'm like, this isn't a savior program. We will not save you. We will work with you. We will coach you. We will push you, but we will not pull and drag you. You got to get up and do the work yourself. And so when I see anyone struggling, I'm like, and I can relate. I'm like, look, I've been there. I know what that's like. Like, I sold my Super Bowl ring.
Oh,
I sold my Super Bowl ring. I hit the bottom. Like, I lost everything. And when I lost everything, it gave me everything because it's made me who I am today. And it is definitely on the list of things to go get back when that time is right.
Yeah.
But I tell them, like, it's never as bad as you think. And the final thing I would say is there's a gift in the adversity. Oh man, there's a gift in all of the adversity if we're open to receiving it.
I love that. Well, Well, Setema, I really appreciate this time that we've had together. I've been really looking forward to meeting with you and doing a podcast with you, again, just because of the way that I felt when you spoke up on stage and the example of a man you are to me and to many others out there. So I appreciate your time, and thank you for this, and I hope that we can talk again soon.
Thank you so much. An honor and a privilege to be here. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Setema.